just gonna. There we go. So when we record it, it's like we'll just chat. So anyone who's just listened to this recording, Emily is the only one that has turned up to say hello at Sunday at 8 p.m. Well done, Emily. Okay, Emily, let's go. How you doing? There's Archie coming to meet you and
Oh,
the cat.
yeah, I got cat and
It's
dog.
the sock. Yes. You can get on via Zoom. Hey, cat. Okay, yeah, go for it. So how are you doing? I mean, it's really nice just to chat away from the humdrum of craziness in the gym.
Yeah, no, I think, like I was saying, it's just it's nice to have regular sessions because I'm inherently lazy, and so I think from my point of view, something that is a constant, a sort of a session that's a regular session that you've planned ahead and you're committed to go to. Means I then just have I know that I'm going to have a regular period where I'm going to be doing some exercise. And I really like the small group sessions just because everybody's in the same boat with something slightly different. And it's just nice. And it's personal. And so it's good. From me, it's great.
And your strength is brilliant. Like your strength and your fitness, thinking of where you started, has just come on leaps and bounds as well. And you're getting more confident with the movements as well. Do you still feel you're challenged with it as well? That's always my thing. Just it's always challenged, but then you can get into a situation when you can relax into it a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I think that's where it's uncomfortable and therefore you don't enjoy, then you get to the where you sort of feel it as a challenge but you can achieve, and then at some point there might be the whole I can do this, and then you move on to making it a bit more difficult. So I think it's quite nice run of things.
It's a bit like the reset, really. It's trying to work within your boundaries to where you're comfortable, but enough to make some sustainable lifestyle changes as well. So how are you doing kind of with the resetty stuff? Like last week it was about calories, steps and exercise. So calories wise?
So I'm counting calories on the Fitbit, which is
Brilliant.
good.
Yeah.
I hadn't really I hadn't appreciated two things because you said count your calories but don't count
your exercise.
And I sort of appreciated that. I'd sort of gone, I've done some exercise, therefore I can have some more calories.
So the exercise trackers are not always 100% accurate.
Yeah.
And because the exercise tracker, you burn more calories instantly if you're doing cardio. Actually, you're burning a lot of calories when you do weights, and it's over time. But when anyone is on any program like a reset, the guidance is always forget about the exercise calories. You want to think about like your minutes worth or how intensity you're doing, because otherwise it's that mindset of, because we want to have a healthy relationship with food. We don't want to say, we've just been for a workout, we can then have.
Yeah. And I think that's right. It's actually much easier if you go, well, actually, this is my lifestyle. This is now what's going to happen regardless of what I do in the day, if that makes sense. So it's just it's much easier to do.
So your next stage of the calories is then to look at your macronutrients.
So
and I've done a video on that, and you'll get that tomorrow.
Perfect. So I've had a look at that just to see what my norm is. And then I think that's then what I'll build on to make sure.
What's your norm at the moment for protein?
So I think I'm hitting I'm up to 20%, but not much over. So it's sort of I've got more fats in my diet than I thought I would have. But so, and it's a fairly day by day, it's fairly regular actually. So
so with fat, it's just being aware of the fat. So fats are good for us. but sometimes we just have too much fat. So we want our body to be, you know, lean in this way. We're not trying to be completely svelte, but you're working really hard on your exercise, so you want it all to make a difference as well.
Yeah.
So trying to up that protein, but just having the balance of fat. But fats do come and go. Like when you have a day when you have quite a lot of eggs and salmon, it will rock it up. But it's just having that knowledge, and you don't need to track all the time either. But as you do it, like I was chatting to someone at the weekend, my AirPod has just run out of battery. So if you can't hear me, tell me. So she's done 3 resets before, and literally she just needed a bit of a chat and a bit of TLC. And she's like, I don't feel I need to track, but I need to put that information back in my head.
Yeah.
So she just sent me a message. Says, oh, kind of feeling back on it, but that tracking is really educational.
Yeah, I think the first time the reset from January was interesting because I had no idea how many calories I was eating, because you always have in your head that you've got a sort of healthy, balanced diet and all of that, and but actually you don't. You forget the bits, some of what you've eaten.
Yeah.
And B, you don't have a real idea of what's in food that you eat. So I tend not to eat a lot of processed food, so which is really helpful. But you still don't know what's in what, so that was helpful to sort of get a general idea of what we're doing.
And then you brings you back,
and then it drifts, and then you need to.
And it does, and what the reset does, it just literally helps you reset. And then steps. How are your steps?
So I generally do about. So looking at the previous steps, I was doing it over 7.5 a day on a regular basis. At weekends, I was doing 17, 20. So quite a lot. So my average was 11,000. So I've sort of increased that so that I then have a minimum of 8,000 a day. And I think there's one day last week that I was about 100 off, and I was walking around the house and it got a bit silly, and I sort of went, actually, I'm just going to go to bed because it's just to get an extra 100 steps in. That was a bit. So so that's my goal, and I think it depends on, most of the time at work I'm up and down anyway, so I'm walking around quite a bit. But then there's the odd day where I'm just sat at the desk and I don't move very much, and then you definitely see the difference. But
he's now ran out of battery. Lemon technology. There we go. I can hear you better now as well. I mean, the steps, like I've done so much research into the steps, and you'll know this as well, the health benefits of steps. Like we think about weight gain, loss, but actually the steps is the movement, which is just so important. But you've nailed that. So you've nailed your calories, you've nailed your steps. And you're nailing your exercise. So I was using the NHS recommendations. I've never done this in the reset before, I thought I might stress people up, but actually I thought that's the reality of life. I was having a chat with the physio the other day, and sometimes I err on the side of caution of stressing people out, and we were chatting about it, and she said actually that's the NHS is giving us as a guideline, and not many people get that at all, but actually you want to reset. So 75 minutes vigorous, 150 moderate, and you're doing that. And isn't that a great feeling? Because if you think 6 months before,
exactly.
You may not. Would you have been doing that 6 months before?
I think probably. I think it's not an easy, so I think I'm a bit more mindful of it. But I've never really had a Fitbit before, so I don't know what I was doing. And I think as soon as you've got it on. I then every time I forget something and have to go up and get something else, it's actually, instead of being a pain in the backside, I sort of go, I'll get my steps in. And so I think I do I do more now that I know that I'm counting them than I did beforehand. So I think the physical counting actually
that.
makes me do more. I don't think it's masses more,
Yeah.
but
Your exercise wise though, exercise wise, is that more?
exercise, I didn't do any before I came to see you at all. Did nothing.
Yeah. And do you
Other
feel
than
good? Do you feel
your
good in your
normal.
body?
Yeah, absolutely, much better.
Yes.
Much.
It's really good. It's really good. You got 2, and you might find that, well, you're doing some at home as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, a video that you'll see tomorrow, I've talked about macronutrients, but I've talked a bit about goal setting as well. And I've said about setting different goals. So basically, a setting for a goal for the end of the reset, so 5 weeks time, a 3-month goal, 6-month goal, a year goal, and a 5-year goal. So
Okay.
it's not that you have to be held accountable to them, but what it does, it makes us think. Because I always come back to my parents, mid-70s, 75, 76, and they've got these e-bikes, and they're going out on these like 20-mile cycle rides, and they've just started going to Pilates. My dad is 76, age 76, going to Pilates. It's just awesome. And that's what I keep thinking in my head. This is why we need to be active. And I meet a lot of people who, when they get into their 40s, they're just stopping. Sorry, Archie's shiggling the thing. So yeah, so have a little think about your goals. Have you got a goal that you want to get like for the end of the 5 weeks? Is there anything, or is it just about resetting? Or
I think it's just about resetting. I mean, I think I would like to feel a lot trimmer and slimmer, but
protein?
I think, you know, that it's not a sort of, that's a nice thing because that's a visible thing, and that gives you sort of that whole.
So there are things you can do for that. So if you, I mean, I always talk about the longevity wins, but actually for some quick wins, if you want that, I'm always careful about how to talk about this as, you know, such a range of disordered eating. But if you're wanting to feel kind of trimmer and leaner, it's about your protein and cutting back on the carbs. So it might be you say, right, for 3 days a week, I'm not going to have any potato, rice, you know, pasta. And I'm not saying they're bad.
No.
But they are the ones that are stodgy in your stomach,
Yeah.
and taking them out. So I know if I want to lean up, I will have, I like for my lunch, I'll have soup. So I will have carbs. There's carbs everywhere, but I always have a wrap for my lunch. But then I wouldn't have the wrap part. I would have chicken and veg. And I would just cut back on the carbs, and that will help you see the difference in being lean. And also, if you're struggling to get in the protein, it depends how you feel about them. But protein shakes are full of nutrition.
Yeah.
And you could have a protein shake. You could take a protein shake with you, even a ready-made one, to work to have as your lunch. They're quite filling. So I sometimes have it for my breakfast. I'll have a protein shake. I just use my protein. It's pretty cheap. And I might have that if I'm, you know, having a go-to. And the other thing is cutting back on snacks. So you have optional snacks in the day, but you're just trying to cut back. But it's not sustainable. So you can have that point when you're going, okay, right, I want to feel a bit leaner. And actually, you can do that as a quick win for 2 or 3 weeks. And then you can get those wins. And then it brings you back, gets you set. And then other things creep in. But it means that you've pulled it back. So it's kind of going up. It's a bit like the key shape. Your progress is always moving. But if you do want to get those goals in 4 weeks, 5 weeks, there's 5 weeks left, just think about your carb intake.
Yeah.
And that will massively help.
Yeah.
Especially around the tummy area.
Yes.
Yeah. Because if you had a bowl of water and you put in a loaf of bread as opposed to the chicken,
yeah,
you know, the bread just becomes a bit mushy, and whereas the chicken takes longer to digest.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's it in your stomach basically. I mean, I am actually quite up for quick wins sometimes when people need it. When people are wanting quick weight loss, I will often say have a protein shake or just have soup for lunch.
Yeah, I think it's I mean I cut a lot of, I used to be a real carb maniac, so I used to think that if I didn't have carbs in high volume I would definitely die.
Yeah.
And I cut those out a long while ago, so I'd be very happy to cut out so I used to have scrambled eggs on toast, and I then just have the scrambled eggs. I don't have the toast, and I have we cut our rice portions down by quite a significant amount, and then on some cases I don't have rice at all, and so
Yeah.
it's sort of much easier, but they're still there. So because that's the normal life. So
Yeah,
I think
absolutely. So if you did want to take it the next step forward, so it's a bit like Sharon was saying that she had changed to doing what was it? Instead of cauliflower rice, she'd bought a pack of chickpea pasta.
yeah,
Need to ask her what that actually tasted like, mind. Because but anyway, yeah, but that's a really good goal to go, do you know what, I just want to feel a bit leaner in 5 weeks. And then your longer goals, I think I know what they would probably be, but what would your 6-month goal be?
I think then I think the fitness thing is the biggest thing, to actually feel much, fitter all round, so that you're, and that's that. I think that's the whole thing. The just feeling weller, fitter, and like you've got more
fit, stronger, healthier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you'll see lots of the girls who come, they stay.
Mm.
They've been coming for months, years. Like some of them have been there since I started 12 years ago.
But that's nice to see as well, because you always have in your head that it's supposed to be a short-term thing just to get you on your way. But actually, it's quite nice to see people that are still keep coming.
And it is about longevity, and people come and go, and that's life, because everyone is busy and different things. But that's why I've set the goals, sort of, and to reset, and then just get people to think about, do you know what, in 3 months, 6 months, some people might go, actually, I want to be able to run a 10K, or might say, I want to be able to lift those 8 kg weights, or I want to feel fit and strong. It's not all, and like in 5 years, I mean, I'm hoping everyone will go, I just want to feel fit, strong, and healthy, and be able to move and walk up hills, and everyone's welcome. So I mean, you're doing brilliantly.
It'd be an interest, because I'm going on a walk in end of May with a good friend of mine, and she's a real complete fitness freak, and walks at a real pace. And so it'd be quite interesting to go on the walk with her, just to see how you compare as to so that'll be really interesting to see, actually.
So what would be good is to up keep the strength going as it is, but to have a bit of a spurt in the cardio. So if you have a look at is it hilly around where you live?
It is here, but the walk we're doing is South Downs, so that's hilly.
Okay, so you need it anyway. So on the app, on the training app, there's the cardio. I think it's on a Tuesday, so it might be 45 minutes quick, 45 minutes slow. You can do that, and you can listen to a podcast at the same time, or you can listen to music. And it says sprint and walk, but it doesn't really mean that. It just means faster and slower. But that would be brilliant training for it to put in once a week. I mean, you can change that to any day that you want. But that cardio interval training, because when you're doing your walk, it's going to be up and down. And that puff. And what you're doing is you're increasing your tolerance for your lactic acid, your VO2 max. So you're increasing. So within the 2 sessions you are with me, we're working on that all the time. But this is a little bit more specific fitness. But the strength that you're doing with me, and the fitness and the cardio, like when we use the bike or the treadmill, will go into that. But I would really suggest to put in 1 more session a week. It doesn't need to be long. It could be 20 minutes, half an hour, and sort of take a deep breath and off you go. But that is what will prep you for that walk, like the lactic acid. So maybe have a go at that this week and see how you get on.
Good.
Because you want to go and enjoy that walk as much as you possibly can.
Exactly. I mean, it's going to be great, because we just sit and chat for 2 days, or you can do, but it'd be nice to be able to sit and chat, rather than be so out of puff that you can't then answer any questions.
So have you got any questions about the reset? I
don't think so. Nothing, because I think most of it we sort of chat about when we're doing the training sessions and bits and pieces. So I think everything's
Yeah.
really.
And
Yeah.
then the next bit, you just would try and hone in on those macros, and you can also send me screenshots, you know, to go, well, these are my macros today.
Yeah.
And why is my fat still high? What can I eat? What can I have more? You know, just use me as
Yeah.
you need. But hopefully it's a little bit different to the last reset, a little bit, just having the focuses.
Yeah.
So this next week it goes same. It goes calories, steps, exercise, and it's putting in lifestyle. So I've given you a habit tracker. I'm telling you what's on the video now. There's a habit tracker that will be in there for Trainerwise for tomorrow. So you print it off, and then you've got 6 habits to tick off each day. And it says workout. You won't probably do 6 workouts, but the other ones you can tick off each day. It's like you're back to drinking water, sleep, and then it puts all of that in together. So it's really nailing the lifestyle. And then we'll start to look at, so what will be interesting next week, we go on a little bit deeper into the macros and go, actually, do I have more energy when I have more protein, or what is it? What's going on with the macros and how it's affecting my body and emotional eating, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, cool. Okay, I'm going to stop recording this now. So anyone watching this and catch up, just say hello. And